Niyamat, under the control, Adaha, that, Lokam, the universe, Swadeham, own body, Tanute expands, Mahan, the Mahatattva, Saptabihihi, with the 7 layers, Avritam, covered. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Subject to the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sky allows outer space to accommodate all the various planets, which holds innumerable living entities. The total universal body expands with its 7 coverings under his supreme control. Purport. It is understood from this verse that all the planets in our outer space are floating, and they all hold living entities. The word Shwashatam means those who breathe, or the living entities. In order to accommodate them, there are innumerable planets. Every planet is a residence for innumerable living entities, and the necessary space is provided in the sky by the supreme order of the Lord. It is also stated here that the total universal body is increasing. It is covered by 7 layers, and as there are 5 elements within the universe, so the total elements in layers cover the outside of the universal body. The first layer is of Earth, and it is 10 times greater in size than the space within the universe. The second layer is water, and that is 10 times greater than the earthly layer. And the third covering is fire, which is 10 times greater than the water covering. In this way, each layer is 10 times greater than the previous one. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we are in the section where Kapila is responding to Mother Devahuti's question, which she posed in verse 4 of this chapter, right? The verse 4. कालस्येश्वर रूपस्य परेषां च परश्यते स्वरूपं बत कुर्वन्ति यद्देतो कुशलं जनाः. So she's asking Kala Ishvara Rupasya. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one of these forms is Kala. Kala is time. So she wants to know, please also describe eternal time, which is a representation of your form, and by whose influence people in general engage in the performance of pious activities. So, Mother Devati is asking, please describe over the time. So, what is the quality of time? She knows, she's explaining here that the time with whose influence, because Srila Prabhupada explains here that the pious people, they understand the influence of time. They understand that the time can devour all the living entities. Time can take away everything. So the pious people who understands that element of time, they get devoted, they get sublimed, they get humbled, and they go towards the Lord. They go towards the practice of devotion service. Right. So this is what saying that Yadyeto Kushalam Janaha, the Janaha, the people in general who are good in nature, they will take the bhakti because of the time. So by whose influence pious activities are performed by the people in general. So So here the question Mother Devati asked to describe over the time, and this section, that question was answered in this section, which starts from verse 37 and it ends with verse 45. So that ends the chapter itself. But anyway, so if you go to how the Kapila Dev answers her question about the time. So रूप रूपभेदस्पदं दिव्यं काल इति इत्याभिधीयते भूतानां महद् आदीनां यथो भिन्न दृशं भयम्. The time factor who causes the transformation of the various material manifestations is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So again, Kapila Dev also is affirming that time is none other than Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Anyone who does not know that time is same Supreme Personality is afraid of time factor. So basically, the one who doesn't know about the time, who doesn't know that the Supreme Personality time is Supreme Personality of Godhead, they will get afraid or they will be petrified. Why? Because they are not surrendered to the Krishna. They, if someone knows that time is Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are prepared. They'll be practicing devotional service. They will be respecting the time, and they'll try to learn what happens after death, right? What is the problem in dying? The problem in dying, Mahajana says, or the Vaishnava says, that problem in dying is that we are we're afraid of unknown, what happens afterwards, right? But in bhakti, they say that the bhakti, or with the knowledge of bhakti, we know that what happens life after life, what is life, what is the present condition of life. So that's why we don't get feared. But the people who don't follow bhakti, or who doesn't believe the time is Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are afraid of it because they don't know what's going to happen for them in the next life, right? And he continues saying that Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, is the time factor and the master of all masters. He's saying the same point again here. And he enters everyone's heart. He is the support of everyone, and he causes every being to be annihilated by another. So this is the in the form of time. Lord Vishnu enters everyone's heart. He is supported. He is the support of everyone, right? And he causes every being to be annihilated by another. So, like this, he continues. The next verse: No one is dear to Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor is anyone his enemy or friend. But he gives inspiration to those who have not forgotten him, and destroys those who have. So, what is that verse? Sammoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti na priyah. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. BG Bhagavad Gita 9:29. Right? I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I'm equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Right? So that is the same words that came Lord Krishna has told to Arjuna in the chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. So the same verse here. Krishna is no one is dear to Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor is anyone enemy or a friend. He's sammoham. He's always equal to everyone, all the living entities, right? But he gives inspiration, right? Same thing. He's in the sammoham sarvabhuteshu verse. It says that Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. So they will stay in me, meaning like they are conducive to the words of the Lord and towards the bhakti, to surrender to the Lord, right? And chapyaham, I also live in with him. So yeah, and I'm also a friend to him. So he's saying that I'm a friend to him and he's a friend to me. So we take care of each other. Not take care of each other, but that's how he's not partial to anyone. But when someone is conducive to the bhakti, or when someone is surrendered unto him, he'll be little he'll support them, and he'll make sure that they are not fallen, or they're not going to fall. So that is the verse here. Same thing is explained here in 39th verse. If you go to the next one, out of fear of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the power of time now. This specifically talks about what time can do, or the Supreme Personality of can do. Supreme Personality of Godhead can do. Out of fear of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the wind blows. Out of fear of him, the sun shines. Out of fear of him, the rain pours forth showers. And out of fear of him, the host of heavenly bodies shed their luster. So, this was the quality Supreme Personality of Godhead has. And here, with this time factor, we'll see how the time factor works. And we have already seen that in the verse in the third chapter, third canto, sixth chapter, fifth verse. I think we have no, there are multiple verses we have checked it. We'll go back and check again. But for now, the Supreme Personality of with the fear of Supreme Personality of Godhead, wind blows, right? That meaning they're all under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the feature which Hiranyakashipu wants to take over at one point of time. He wanted to become Bhagwan, and he was controlling all these things. He was threatening um, demigods. He was threatening the nature. He was threatening the sunshine. He was controlling the rainfall. That those explanations are already given in the seventh canto. So if you see, if one becomes tries to become God, they imitate the God's powers. But is it possible? No, it is not possible, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is only one, right? That is Krishna, and we know um, Krishna can control all these things out of fear of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then we may ask, what is the difference between Krishna and Hiranyakashipu here? Right? Hiranyakashipu also did the same thing. They're petrified. They were super afraid of Hiranyakashipu. So they were pouring the rains and they were acting as he was directing. Then the words here also say, out of fear of Supreme Personality of Godhead. If they are doing for the Krishna also out of fear, then what is the difference between Krishna and Hiranyakashipu? Right? The difference is Krishna is the creator. He's the owner. If there is a owner of a house, he can control, he can do whatever he wants to do because he spent money on that. He is the original creator of these things. He can control the things. Okay, my table in the hall should be in the center. He can decide that my table in the hall, like my sofa should be leaning to the wall. Those kind of controlling power he has it because he owned it. He buys it with the money and he owns it, owner of the house, right? Similarly, if you are a creator, if Krishna is a creator, he has his control. He knows what he wants. He wants the best for his living entities and he controls everything. So there is nothing wrong. The difference between a demon and a Krishna is this. Hiranyakashipu didn't create any of this stuff. He just took over what was there and he was trying to control them. That is the difference, right? So now, next we will go to the 41st verse. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trees, creepers, herbs, and seasonal plants and flowers blossom and fructify, each in its own season. Right? Out of fear. All these things are controlled. Next one. Out of fear of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the rivers flow and the ocean never overflows. Such a contrast, right? Rivers flow but not the ocean. Out of fear of him, only does fire burn and does the earth fire burn and does the earth with its mountains not sink in the water of the universe. So he basically is saying, these verses are saying that Supreme Personality of Godhead is controlling everything. He has a complete setup here, right? Yeah, the planets are in space. So the continuation of this verse is the next verse, which is our today's verse, right? Nabo dadati shwashastam padam yan niyamadita Lokam Swadeham Tanute Mahan Saptabhir Avritam. So what does it say? Subject to the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sky allows outer space to accommodate all the various planets. Right? How does it work? So we have seen um, in the third canto, fifth chapter, verses 33 to 36. Um, if you remember, we talked about it, right? So basically Krishna, as a creator, right, he transforms into he comes down as Mahavishnu. Okay, that is we're not going to detail, but he comes down as Mahavishnu, or Karanodakshay Vishnu, and from him the Pradhana is created. Okay, the Pradhana will be transformed into Mahatattva. Mahatattva, um, how is Mahatattva? Pradhana is basically all the ingredients, and all the ingredients are there, but someone should be there to create Mahatattva. Like someone should, all the ingredients are there, but from all those ingredients are in the shape of, they're separately there. Let's say if you want to make khichdi, we have rice, we have dal, we have the ginger and other things separately. So that is Pradhana. But someone should come and mix them together and put them in a bowl, right? So that mixing of the ingredients with the water is Mahatattva. It's the ingredients are there, but the mixing and getting them together is Mahatattva, giving it a form of a khichdi, for an example, right? Is Mahatattva. So in the from Mahatattva comes from Mahatattva comes Ahankara, basically the false ego. From the false ego, we see the elements will emanate. There are three types of false ego. In the mode of false ego in the mode of ignorance, these elements are um, created. So how are these elements created? The main ingredient of that elements for the creation of that elements is time. If you remember those verses, we spoke in detail about that. That so that's why abruptly why we can see we Krishna Kapilade was talking about time everywhere here, right? How the time, how Krishna or Vishnu in the form of time controls everyone. But suddenly he talks about the sky and the outer space and the elements here in this verse, because the main ingredient of these elements for the formation of these elements is the time. With the glance of the Lord and the eternal time factor, all these elements are created. That's what Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. Srila Prabhupada explains here that uh, it is also stated here that the total universal body is increasing. It is covered by 7 layers. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining here, 7 layers. As there are 5 elements within the universe, so the total elements in layers cover the outer side of the universal body. The first layer is Earth. So Srila Prabhupada explains about the layers now. So why are we talking about the layers and the elements here? Is because the main ingredient of formation of these elements is time. Eternal time is always induced into this creation. So that eternal element of time is so important, which is none other than Krishna himself. So that is what we have to learn. So from the yeah. So how are these elements formed? Is from the false ego in the mode of ignorance, we get sky, right? Sky, and from the sky we get air, from the air we get fire, from the fire we get water, and the water, earth is created. So Srila Prabhupada goes in more detail that in Mahat Tattva, in the form of a Vishnu, sorry, the universe is covered with all these 7 layers. What are the 7 layers? The first is the universe has earth layer, right? The earth layer, the size of the earth layer is 10 times more than the space inside the universe, right? There is a space inside the universe, and the whole universe is covered with multiple layers, right? The first layer is earth. The earth is 10 times bigger than the universe, and the uh, um, next layer is fire. So the fire is 10 times bigger than the size of the earthly layer, and that's what Shil Prabhupada explains. So second layer is earth, and 10 times bigger than the space, and the second layer is water. Sorry, water is 10 times bigger than the earth, and the fire is 10 times bigger than the water layer. So this, like this, these layers are covered. The universe is covered with 7 layers. It will go up to um, earth, water, fire, air, uh, ether, right? All 5 elements. Then false ego. Then comes Mahatattva. So these 7 elements are covered in a different layer. So yeah, those are the 7 layers. So now Kaleshwara. So let's talk about time. So Mother Devahuti is saying that Kaleshwara Rupasya. So Kala is a time which is a form of Krishna himself, right? So in Katha Upanishad, it says that Yasya Brahma cha Kshatram cha Ube Bhavata Odanah Mrityur Yashopasechanam Ka itta Veda Yatrasaha. So Katha Upanishad is asking, who then knows where he is? The time. He is asking about the time. He to whom Brahmins and Kshatriyas are mere food, and death is a condiment. So think about this verse, right? This time factor will not leave anyone. It doesn't matter you are a Brahmana who is full of knowledge. It doesn't matter who you are a Kshatriya who is full of power. It doesn't matter. It devours everyone. And the death is a condiment. Like the it's saying that death is like a pickle. When Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are devoured or troubled, are considered as a food, the death is a pickle for that. So that's what this verse is saying. Yasha brahmacha kshatram cha ubhe bhavata odanaha. So odana is like a food or rice with some dal kind of stuff. And mrityur yasyopasechanam. So for the time, mrityu or the death is like a pickle. So it just takes the comparison given is interesting here. So the death is like a pickle for the time, and Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are are food for the time. So if the most powerful beings like Kshatriyas, if the most knowledgeable beings like Brahmanas are the food, then what to talk about other people like Kshatriyas and sorry, Shudras and the Vaishyas? So everyone will get devoured with the time. So that is Katha Upanishad saying here. And Shri Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita 11:32, Kaloshmi Kaloshmi loka kshaykrit pravriddho lokan samahritam iha pravritta Ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve ye vasisht ye vastit ye vastita prati anikeshu yodaha. So the Supreme Personality of God said, time I am. So Krishna is accepting that he is time. And what is the time do? The great destroyer of the worlds. Right? Everything will get destructed or destroyed with the time. No matter of where we are. Today we may be the kings. Think about the powerful people lived on this earth. Powerful people ruled this earth, and extremely powerful people claimed this earth to be theirs or their own, or considered as owners of this land. Right? Think about the great personalities that appeared on this earth. Everyone had to go. Right? There was no one who was left around here. There is nothing like someone will be remaining or staying back. Yeah, there are few personalities who got wounds to live little longer, but it doesn't mean that they're gonna live here for eternally or forever. So that is not the case. So it does. So what we're talking here is that time is such a factor which will not leave anyone, or there is no exempt for anyone. So they have to live. Everyone has to live. So what is the lesson we're learning from this? The lesson we have to learn from here is that we have to understand the time is a part of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have to respect that, and we have to humble ourselves, um, and surrender to the Lord, um, and surrender to the Lord, because we are not permanent. No one is permanent here, right? And also, the one who knows or who understands God, time is God, they are not afraid of anything. But the people who doesn't understand time is God, they are afraid because they don't know what's going to happen, and they try to they're insecure. They try to collect and do whatever they can do to ensure that they don't get um, caught out, they don't get killed by the time, but they'll never be successful because that case is never happened so far in the history of this um, creation. So everyone has to go. Um, yeah. So that is so the yeah. These are the words Kapila is speaking for time. Um, to answer the question of Mother Devothi's inquiry about time, she is describing all these verses, and it goes on for another two more verses, and that ends this chapter. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Harikisha. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. And we'd like, Shimeshwar, you want to say something? And we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare, Hare
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama, Hare
Rama, Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare. Shri Nrsimha Jai
Hare Krishna.
Nrsimha Jai Jai Nrsimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringam Ugra Viram Mahavishnu
Ugraviram
Jalantam
Mahavishnu
Sarvato Uttam
Jalantam
Nrsimha
Sarvato
Vishalam Vedram
Narasimham
Nityam
Vishnu
Nityanamami.
Padam Mrityum Namami.
Nrsimha Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad
Ki
Maharaj
Jai,
ki Jai.
Ki Jai.
Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the Samal Vaishnavas,
Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Bhavecha Patitanam Pavane Vaishnavibhyo Namah.
Vaishnavinda ki Jai,
Ki Jai,
Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai,
Jai,
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Ki Jai.
Hare 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 Hare
Hari
Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you everybody.
Hare
Hari
Krishna, Hare Bol.
Bol.